It's important that the communication settings be established prior to attempting to use the printer. This has to be done both at the printer end and at the Supertrol end, where you're going to be configuring the Supertrol's RS-232 port and creating your ticket print in terms of the items that are going to be included. KP provides the P20 pre-configured for use with the Supertrol of your choice when they're purchased together. As a reminder, the Supertrol itself has one of its selectable RS-232 uses as printer. There are several means of initiating a print, including pushing a print button on the unit, automatic printing when a batch is completed, periodic printing by interval, or printing at time of day. All of these different uses find application in industry. There's also an ability to set a print list in the Supertrol itself to include such items as time and date, total, preset amounts, grand totals, and other variables. In addition, in the Supertrol, you will get a setup CD with the unit. That setup CD allows you to determine the length of the printout, allows you to create a 5-line print header, and a means of advancing the paper before and after the print is completed. In the case of the P20, what you would want to do is to adjust those to obtain the ticket coming free of the printer before completing your print task. And we're going to be going over this during this discussion. As I mentioned, paper has to be installed first. To actually see what the existing settings are on the printer, you can turn the printer off, hold the feed button down, and turn the power back on. What's been created right now is a listing showing you the settings for the instrument that would also match in the printer. In this case, 9600, 8 data bits, no parity, 1 or more stop bits, handshaking by hardware control lines, and what to do in the event that it receives a questionable character. There's also selections for the size of the buffer and other settings for it. Not all of these are supported by the Supertrol, so we're going to be using a more basic set. Now, when you finish with this basic setup, it's giving you an instruction on the bottom. It says, select modes by pressing feed button. Continue self-test, press for 1 second. I'm sorry, press for less than 1 second. If you want to make a mode selection, hold down the switch for 1 or more seconds. We're going to be going through this step by step just to show you how it's done. If I press it for a short time, it's giving me a sample of its character sets that it's printing. If there was a problem with the print head where it was unable to create the individual records, you would be able to see it at this point. If I hold the switch down now for more than a second, you'll notice that it's exited the test mode. I now have to go back into the unit in order to restore the configuration mode, turning the power off, turning it on, and again, it's going to create the setup of the current settings. And now I'm going to hold the feed down for more than a second. And it's giving me now another instruction set. It's telling me that I can go through a series of depressions in order to get to the selection of choice. Now, I'm going to be interested in something not currently in this unit. So I'm going to go to the Customize Value Settings. This is done by 3 quick depressions, 1, 2, 3, followed by a long depression. Now it's giving me a very extensive list of selections that I can use. And in this case, we're going to be going to the serial interface settings to go through the basic baud rates and other similar settings. So again, I'm going to be doing, since this is selection 4, it'll be 4 quick depressions, 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by a long selection. Now at this point, it's giving me the options of either going back to a previous menu or going and changing either the baud rate or the parity or the handshaking or the data bits or the data receive error symbol. We're going to start by the baud rate. So in this case, that's going to be 1 quick depression to select baud rate, followed by a long selection to let it know that that's what I want to do. 1 quick, 1 long. Now here, it's giving me a list of the baud rates that are available. You'll notice with the asterisk that that's the current selection. The bracket is telling you what the default would have been. Now since I want to keep the 9600 baud, I'm going to actually go back to the previous menu. So that's going to end up being just 1 long selection because I don't have to make any changes there. And you'll notice now I'm back to the menu where I can move on to parity. So I'm going to make, that's going to be 2 quick followed by 1 long, since it's number 2 is showing. 1, 2. And you'll notice here that the selections are none, odd and even, or go back to the previous menu. Now I wanted the selection of none, so I'm going to leave that, and I'm just going to use 1 long selection to go back to the previous menu again. The next item that as we're advancing through it is the handshaking. It's designated by a number 3. I'm going to then do 3 quick depressions followed by a long one. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I made a mistake there. Excuse me. Again, 3 quick followed by a long. 1, 2, 3. And you'll notice it gives me a selection of data terminal ready, data set ready. This is sometimes called hardware handshaking or X on, X off. We wanted the selection 1 for hardware handshaking, so I'm just going to go back to the previous menu since it's already set. I'm next going to look at the data bit settings. That is going to be 4 quick followed by 1 long. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in this case, it's set to 8, which is also the default. I'm going to leave that setting and move back to the final item. This is the location where it's going to have data receive error. This is going to end up being like 5 quick depressions followed by a long depression. 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, it's telling me that it can either ignore bad characters or print a question mark. I'm going to leave it where it's going to print a question mark if it doesn't identify the character. Now at this point, I'm going to go back to the menu again, and I can start now returning one setting after another to get back to the final menus. If I hold it down one more time such that it'll exit as indicated by a 0 selection, we'll be finished. Okay, now you can see you're using quite a bit of paper through this process. The printer comes with a starter roll that's fairly small, and then you're going to end up needing rolls of paper. These can either be purchased as suitable thermal paper from your local office supply. They also are available when you purchase the printer. This unit does not use ink, so it's used in a lot of application where fast printing and there's a desire not to use replaceable ink cartridges. Now, to set the unit to its normal operating mode, I can turn the power off momentarily, then turn the power back on. And at this point, it's ready to be used in its normal operation. Once again, we intend to provide it pre-configured if you're buying the P20 printer along with an instrument. We recommend that you get a suitable cable prior to this step. KEP can provide cables with terminated leads on both ends suitable for your application. Okay, that's the basic part of getting the printer configured. In a minute, we'll configure on to the next steps. Thank you for your time.